Assalamu alaikum. My name is Mohammad Aslam and I am from India and I am a Cisco certified trainer. I used to teach Cisco products such as CCNA routing switching, CCNA security, CCNP routing switching, and I used to teach Microsoft products like Microsoft servers, Windows 2008, 2012 servers, and as well as Exchange server. And I have 7 years of experience. I was working in India in Bangalore in an institute called GIT. So that I have total 7 years of experience. So as of now, I am with Cisnet Global, so which is Cisco Learning Partners in Afghanistan. Hello, good morning everyone. Welcome to the Cisnet Global and your CCNA session. So today our topic is on IP routing. So we're going to talk about IP routing. What is IP routing? All those things. So before talking about IP routing, I wanted to know, so what do you know about routing process? Do you have any idea about routing process? What is routing and all? No? So fine, you also don't have. Fine, no problem. I'm going to teach you what is routing. Okay, after this session you will be able to understand what is this routing, okay, how to configure, types of routing, all those things. So basically when we talk about IP routing, it is a process of sending packets from one network to another network. This process is called routing. Okay? Now let's take an example. I have one switch and here is another switch. So when I connect these devices here and assume that here also we have few devices, so they are running in different network. For example, 192.168.1.1 means like 1.0 network, 192.168.2.0/24 networks. So when you have two different networks, when you're trying to communicate from this network to this network, so by default here it's not possible. So why reason? The reason is they are in two different networks. The 1.0 is different network, the 2.0 is a different network, so they are not able to communicate. So to make them communicate, so we use IP routing. Okay? So to do IP routing process and all, we will take the help of routers and multi-layer switches. So when you take help of router, so what we can do, you take an example of this. I'm going to show you the process. Look here, I have one same switch and here is another switch. So these two switches I'm going to connect with the router. So this is here I have one PC like 192.168.1.1 and this is like fast Ethernet 0/0 interface, and this end I have fast Ethernet 0/1 interface. So this is the interfaces of this router, and in the switch assume that I'm going to place one more system 192.168.2.1. Okay, now in the same range one IP will be assigning to these interfaces. From this range, this one IP here, understood? So for example, you take 192.168.1.100 and from this range I will assign one IP to this interface, that is 192.168.2.100. So this is the IP which is going to act as a default gateways to these guys. Okay, now let's talk about routing process, how routing happens, how router will do routing process. The router maintains something called routing table. It maintains something called routing table. A routing table which keeps network information of the router which he knows. Understand? For example, you take, I have here one network this and this is another network. So this two network information kept in this database. You're following, right? For example, you take here I have 192.168.1.01 network connected, one more is 192.168.2.0. 1.0 is this, 2.0 is this. Okay? Now 1.0 is connected on fast Ethernet 0/0 and this is connected on fast Ethernet 0/1. Now when this guy wants to reach 192.168.2.1 IP, which is there here, he wants to talk. Assume that this guy is a Mac and he is like Bob. Okay? Mac and Bob, different day. This Mac wants to talk to this Bob guy. So how process happens? So once he don't know the 2.0, what he will do? He will forward to 1.100. Understand? For example, you want to say hi to Bob. Then he'll send the request. So the packet will go and it will reach to the router. It will hit to the router. Hey boss, please help me how to reach this IP 2.1. Then router say that, yes boss, I will help you, please wait. Let me find out the destination address. So then this information will be forwarded to the router and router will find out where it is available. Then here router looks in the database. It looked here, you can see 2.0 network. This connected 2.0 network, it is part of fast Ethernet 0/1. Then what he will do, he will take that information, he will give it to this interface. He will forward to this interface, then this interface will carry that information and it will forward to that machine. This process is called routing. Okay, the packet is coming from one network and it is forwarding to the another network. This entire process is called as a IP routing. Your packet is routing from one network device to another network devices. Understood? So to do this process, we have different types of routings. To do this process, we have a different types of routing. So what are those? We'll have a talk. So understand? You have any doubts? Are you ready to go with the types of routing? Fine, if you are ready, even I am ready. So let's talk with different types of routing. Now IP routing basically divided into three different types. So which is very important to understand this logic. So you can take the IP routing which is divided into three different types. One is called static. The second one is you can call as default. And we have one more, dynamic. Static routing, default routing and dynamic routing. You have three different options in order to do routing, the process which we had a talk. Understood? Now let's have a talk. What is static? How static works? What is advantages of this? Disadvantages? So where we can use this static routing? Okay. As the same way, default. So how default works? And then as well as dynamic. How dynamic works? So we'll have a talk on differences between them. So which is the best method in order to implement on your network. For example, networks are different types of networks you can see. For example, small businesses, medium businesses, enterprise businesses. Which is suitable for which business, so that also we'll be having a talk on this. Understood? Fine. Now, let's have a talk on what is static. Okay? Static routing, which administrator needs to configure, which admin means your administrator, you may be your network administrator, okay? Means which admin needs to configure manually every network. Administrators need to configure manually to every network in his routing table. Okay? Now, example you take. I have here one router, so which is connecting to another router. So they are connected with each other, and there is one network, and even this guy is connecting to one network, and I can take 192.168.1.0 network, and this is 192.168.2.0 network. So both are running in the default networks, and here 192.168.3.1, 192.168.3.2. So when I want to reach from router 1 to this network 2.0 and from router 2 to this network 1.0, okay, so you can take the help of any one of this routing. You can use static routing to do this process, or default routing to do this process, or dynamic routing. Okay? Now, so let's have a talk on what is static routing. So now I'll show you this how to configure static routing. We'll do lab. Okay? I'll show you how to do this static configuration.
Hello everyone, now I'm going to show you how to configure routing. So as of now we had a talk on routing, types of routing such as static, default and dynamic. Now first let's have a talk on static configuration. So in your CCNA class we have a small Cisnet global lab setup for your static routing. Have a look that, and this is the lab which I'm going to show you. So I have here two routers which is connected with the serials, and you can see here interfaces and their IP addresses, and I have here fast Ethernet 0/0, okay, and here fast Ethernet 0/0 you can see associated IP addresses, and these boxes are the routing table which I have given here. So first let's have assigning IP addresses part. Okay, first do this. So I'm in router 1. I'm going to show you how to assign IP addresses. You can see show IP interface brief. Look here, as of now I don't have any IP addresses. I'm going to configure this. You can see this part here. For router 1, serial 0/0 IP address is 3.1 and fast Ethernet 0/0 IP address is 1.100. So I'm going to assign it. Configuration mode, interface serial 0/0/0 and IP address 192.168.3.1. 255.255.255.0. Now just apply no shut. If you want clock rates, assign the clock rates. Now assign IP address for the fast Ethernet. You can just use fast Ethernet 0/0 IP address 192.168.1.100. Then followed with the subnet mask 255.255.255.0. Enter. Just apply no shut. Now exit. Now you can see show IP interface brief. You see here fast Ethernet 0/0 the status is up and serial status is down. So reason the other end, this part we have not yet configured. Just go to router 2 and assign the IP addresses. In router 2 here also we are using serial 0/0/0 and just have given here serial 0/0. Okay, so you can use serial 0/0/0 there also. In router 1 you can see show IP interface brief. Have a look here, there are no IP addresses. Let's assign IP address interface serial 0/0/0 and the IP address 192.168.3.2, right? You can see here this is 3.2. Fine. Then followed with subnet mask 255.3.2 255.255.255.0. Enter. Oh, look here. This is good to do. Here look, you can see there is a space is missing. Fine. Now no share clock rate, just assign the clock rate. So actually clock rate is only 100 you can assign. So look, it's giving this command applied only on the DCE end, because already you have applied on the DCE end, so this interface is not a DCE. Fine. Now interface fast Ethernet 0/0 IP address 192.168.2.100 followed with subnet mask 255.255.255.0, no share. End. Now you see show IP interface brief. Look here, all interfaces are up, and you can show IP route. You can see here these two routes. You can see in my table the router 2 has two routes, 2.0 and 3.0. That is how you can see here this addresses. You can just go to router 2. You can see this is 2.0 and 3.0. In the same way, you can have a look on router 1, show IP interface brief. Here also you can see all interfaces are up. And show IP route to check the routing table. Look here, I have two routes, one is 1.0 and 3.0, where C stands for static. You can see, so C stands for connected here. Okay, now how to do routing? You can see this next slide. So here I am going to use this command in order to configure static routing. This is the command which I use, IP route, okay, then your destination network, the subnet mask which is running there, and next hop address. Next hop address means when this guy wants to reach to this address, so the next hop address will be this, and when router 2 wants to reach to 1.0, the next hop address will be 3.1. So let's have a do lab static routing configuration. Go configuration mode, IP route. My destination, I mean router 1, my destination is this guy. This is my destination network, means 2.0 network. So let's give your destination network address 192.168.2.0. Then subnet mask of that network is 255.255.255.0. The next hop address is 192.168.3.2. You can see that 3.2 here. You can see this is the 3.2 address. Understood? Just enter. That's it, guys. Okay, no chat. It's not a no chat, it's a exit. So now you can see show IP route. Oh, look here, this is the nice. You can see here we added a static route manually. Yes stands for static. Okay, this is the static. Through statically I'm receiving 2.0 and where 3.2 means this is that address 3.2. Let's do the same thing in router 2 also. Just go to router 2. As of now in router 2 I have only 2 entries. So I'm going to configure one more static route here. 192.168.1.0 is my destination. 1.0 is my destination. 255.255.255.0 is my subnet mask of the network. 192.168.3.1. Now my next hop IP is 3.1 because I'm in router 2. When I want to reach this is my next hop IP. Okay, fine. Now go to router 2. You can see exit and show IP route. Look here, I'm receiving 1.0. That's it. This is how static routing configuration. You can test from router 2 to router 1. You can ping 192.168.1.100, right? Oh, look here, it's responding. Okay, success rate is 100%. That means successfully it is reaching. The same thing you test from the router 1. Just go here, ping 192.168.2.100. Oh, good news. Look, it is able to reach from router 1 also as well as from router 2 also. You can see here. After this is the changes you can see in the network. This is the routes which is added. Okay, in router 1 the new entry is statically added 2.0. In router 2, so 1.0 is statically added. This is 1.0 network. Understood? So after this you can provide this as a gateways to this, so then even this machines can reach to this, and this machines you can provide this as a gateway, then this can reach to this. Understand? I hope this will help you. Okay, thank you for watching this video. Okay, welcome to your next session. Okay, let's start. Have a good luck.